we've had conversations, all three of us, at separate times about your experiences in many different workplaces and the way that you've been treated and the way that you've been seen and the way that then you get compensated for doing the things that you do and what you're putting in versus what you're getting out. So when we see things like I forget which Karen name we gave to the Central Park Karen, or versus the out in front of someone else's residence Karen, and they're constantly, and then once they get called out, their names get put out there, their employment gets put out there, and then they get fired or they lose partnerships. All those things happen to them, and there's this whining of, you're out to destroy me, right? When the original action was to destroy the person that outed you for what you've been doing. And so at what point do we get some turnover within workplace, or pressuring people, or even maybe you don't always have to go to the president of a company? Where is a way to break in? And Adrienne, again, wrote this book about workplace harassment. How is there a way to inject a different energy and not have it take another 50 years?
I think that's a really good question, because as we kind of know, culture really starts at the top. And there are certain institutions in our country that are just essentially power structures that have existed for as long as they have, with a certain type of culture. And the thing is, to break that down, that is very difficult, in part because everyone becomes really co-conspirators in keeping that culture alive in order to take home a paycheck. And so the people like me and Jason, who are more vulnerable to experiences like harassment and also wage theft, people aren't really going to stick their neck out and stand up for us. And so the only way I only see it happening is just exposing people, putting their trash on the street, because the thing is, it's all based on hypocrisy, and they're out there claiming one thing and doing another. For instance, today I had to go to Twitter because there was a media outlet that had not had any Black representation whatsoever in their writing staff, and they would not respond to my requests about that. And I had been asking for months, and it's about autism. And the thing is, there needs to be representation. And the fact that you won't even acknowledge you have a problem is part of the problem. And so there needs to be a lot done. And hopefully there can be a shift and change so we can have our voices and people can actually start living up to their words.
Jason, please don't forget what you were going to say. Jason, don't forget what you're going to say, I promise, because I want to follow up on, you were asking about the media company. So this is what some people who don't understand the reason or the point of actually calling someone out. Because you said, Adrienne, you said call them out. And some people may take that to mean, oh, you're just trying to just ruin people's lives and call them out. What if they don't know how bad they're being, right? Okay. I'm going to try to skip that craziness of that thought. But it's a very common thought. So some people may ask you, Adrienne, what is it you expected of this media company to say to you if they don't have any Black people on staff to do this very important work and they don't have that answer yet? What are they supposed to say to actually satisfy what you're looking to get from them?
Number one, I think you just acknowledge it. Hey, we have this deficiency and we need to work on it. And you make some effort and put effort behind it. I think when people try to ignore it, lie about it as well, and they continue to bring in white faces, then it's problematic, because all they are doing is continuing to perpetuate our disenfranchisement, or even not even talk about issues that impact us as, in this situation, autistic Black people. And it's extremely problematic, especially when they're claiming to support diversity. And it really ends up hurting us as individuals, because then, hey, you may bring us on as a freelancer, but we don't get health benefits. Also, we don't have that institutionalized kind of support and that foundation and an opportunity to contribute. And it's just incredibly problematic when we have these organizations saying one thing and doing something else. And everybody has to be held accountable. I don't have a problem being called out for my behavior, because it is my behavior. What I do in private, I will hold up to in public. I believe that that is integrity, and I expect for other organizations who purport to have integrity to do the same. Otherwise, do not lie to me. Just admit that you are a crummy company.
Point blank, period. Adrienne Lawrence with the gospel right now. I agree 1000%. Having worked at some amazing outlets, what's going on now on social media in regards to BLM and the whole movement, to me, for some places is hyper performative, because it wasn't until people were called out, and they have been called out, And it wasn't until this happened that all of a sudden now we stand in solidarity, we support. You want to do Juneteenth specials. You all of a sudden have this amazing blackness, black excellence. Where was that 2 years ago? Where was that vigor and that zest for blackness in creative meetings that some of these outlets or wherever will be like, you know what, there's not an audience for that. Having black content's a conversation from the top. And then, okay, so representation and diversity are the ideas. The action behind that is the inclusion of the people you brought on to look inclusive for the public so you look good. That's what drives me mad about, if we want to talk about entertainment, Hollywood, is because we get behind these phrases, or Hollywood gets behind these phrases because it affects their bottom line. If they don't, people are going to stop supporting them. We can't have them lose money. But behind closed doors, you have talent at these outlets, talent at places that aren't even seen. You're sending non-POC producers to black award shows when you have black talent readily available to go and consume and give to their audience that black excellence. So to me, in these, as Adrienne said, don't lie about it. It's easier to digest and be more palatable when you say, we have messed up. Here are the actionable items we are going to put in place. Here are the actionable steps we're going to take to make sure that our black talent that has been vetted, that has applied, that you brought on because you saw something in them, if you will, to be inclusive, that we can make sure that you guys have a seat at the table, because all we're asking for is a seat at the table. Now, taking the responsibility back on us after we get that seat at the table is that we have to constantly hold them accountable, call them out. That was the problem before in these cultures, because we felt being as marginalized groups of people, and let's take it beyond black people, LGBTQ plus, disabled, we didn't have a voice. There was no one to back us up against these necessary evils or these evils at these companies. So we felt like, well, hey, it's on deaf ears. That in itself is traumatizing. Violence against people isn't always physical. Violence against people is not always physical. Sometimes it's a microaggression. Sometimes it's being ignored in creative meetings. Sometimes it's being told, you know what, do we want to do a story on this where we could talk about the usual suspects of Beyonce, Cardi B, Kanye West, the ones that get clicks for our white audience that are safe for our white audience. There was an outlet that said that the death of Nipsey Hussle was niche. That was a niche experience for pop culture. And so, it blows my mind. So to Adrienne's point, holding them accountable, absolutely. Not being afraid to have those conversations, and also knowing your rights. Now more than ever, we're seeing tons and tons and tons of articles from places like Harper's Bazaar and outlets that historically have never been really into serving a black audience, educating us on how to be better at protecting ourselves in the workplace. It's incredible. It's incredible. So we have to arm ourselves with that information and make sure that we hold whoever that is, be it our direct reports, be it our colleagues, be it anyone else that influences the culture in these places, making sure that they know that, hey, if there's something that doesn't look right, it probably isn't right. And it's okay.
If I may say, the thing is, I think this actually originates largely from white culture in particular, and that is my speculation from the legacy of slavery and whatnot. But accountability for white people or for the patriarchy is seen as something problematic, which is why this thought of calling someone out is thought of, I'm doing something wrong, holding someone accountable, because you essentially have these groups who have never been held accountable. They've been able to take advantage, to exploit, to rewrite history, and to just essentially mine, steal, rape, and kill, and never be remembered as doing such. And so when they are called out, we become the bad guys for calling them out because, oh my goodness, no, they act with impunity. So no one can tell me I am the bad guy for holding anyone accountable in terms of making sure their actions match their words. I will not play into that. I will continue to push and to hold people accountable because, again, like America, it made me a promise, and I am damn sure going to collect on it.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks. Really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, Jayar. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.